Welcome to The Thought Card, a podcast about travel and money, where planning, saving, and creativity leads to affording travel, building wealth, and paying off debt. We are the financially savvy travelers. Hey, financially savvy travelers, how are you? This is probably going to be one of the most emotional episodes that I've ever recorded on the Thought Card podcast, but I want to thank you first and foremost for tuning in. We have such an amazing tribe of financially savvy travelers from all over the world. And although we probably have never met, or maybe we have, maybe we had the pleasure to meet, but I do feel your presence here. And whenever there's like something exciting happening in my life, or it's been a while since I hopped on the mic and talked to you one-on-one. We do these like more personal episodes, more recap episodes, and it gives you a bit of insights into who I am beyond just the podcast host and a travel and personal finance writer. So as you can see from the episode title, I have officially quit my corporate job. Today is my last day, and I am going 100% into content creation full time. And I wanted to share with you a bit of my story about how I got here, as well as say thank you to a bunch of people who have been encouraging me behind the scenes, who even through this podcast, having these conversations with so many it's inspiring and adventurous, financially savvy travelers have all helped me to take control of my life and be at this very position today. And then lastly, I wanted to end the episode with sharing with you what I plan on doing moving forward, as well as how to support the show and the creative work that you enjoy to consume. So let's get started with how I got here. So the Thought Card started in 2014, April 2014. I started the blog, thoughtcard.com. You may not know this, but I do have a travel and personal finance blog, and that's where everything started. And I wanted to have a blog for quite a long time, but I had this limiting belief that I wasn't a good writer. I just had this like mental roadblock, but I wanted to give it a try. And I look back at my 2015, 2014 writing from time to time, and I'm like, oh, girl, you were not playing when you said you were not a good writer. But I had thoughts to share with the world, hence the Thought Card. And I love talking about this newfound love for travel I had discovered since around this time I was traveling to Europe a few times a year and learning all about financially savvy travel and trying to pay off my debt. And I decided that I wanted to make the Thought Card a personal finance and travel blog. And this was revolutionary at the time because in 2014, because a lot of people actually did not understand what I was talking about. Why are you a travel blogger talking about personal finance topics? And vice versa. Why are you a personal finance blogger talking about travel topics and sharing destination guides and how you did stuff cheaply? People didn't understand where these two things came together, even though for me, it was clear as day. We need money to travel. Even if you're travel hacking, even if you're able to win a contest or get a gift for free to be able to go on a trip, at the end of the day, you still need money to do just about everything: food, accommodations, flights. And I was trying to figure out how to afford to travel work on paying off my $63,000 of student loan debt, as well as trying to be a young millennial out there in the world. And it was pretty tricky, wanting to do all the things, but having a paycheck that was staring back at you and saying, girl, you ain't ready for this. I started writing on the blog, and over time it started to grow. I started to really catch my swing of things, and I became known in the space as the person that was talking about travel and talking about money. And I invested in conferences to learn more. I surrounded myself with people who were also travel blogging, and that started my journey. Now, would I say I felt more confident as a writer? Yes, I did feel more confident as a writer over time when I started getting paid gigs, really small money, like $50, $75, $100 to write articles about destinations I've been to, things to do, and all that sort of stuff. So I was starting to feel validated that, wow, I have clients and people are willing to pay me to write and share my perspective. That was truly inspiring. In the meantime, I was working as a grant specialist at a healthcare institution, meaning, which you're probably wondering, like, what is a grant specialist? A grant administrator or specialist or a manager is someone who manages grants. And you could either be putting grants in, submitting grants, helping faculty submit grants, and or managing the finances when the grant is funded. And I truly love that. I love being a project manager. You know, I had dreams of being a doctor when I was young, and that quickly faded away when I started to study for my MCATs. But I loved being a grant administrator because I was part of the science team. I was part of a team who were doing cutting edge research, who are changing children's lives, changing lives. And it was amazing. And I felt so fulfilled, and I could work independently as well as with a team, and I could see a project from start to finish. So over the years, I grew in my career. I got several promotions. I became a senior grant specialist, and then I became a grant manager while having the thought card, while writing. And I have to say that side hustling, at the extent I was side hustling, is not easy. I had to wake up early in the morning to wake up and write. I would be writing also during my commutes to work, and I live about door to door, an hour and 45 minutes away from work. So, you know, while everyone else is on the train sleeping on their commute, I would be writing articles or doing social media, or, you know, trying to figure out certain things for my budding passion and side hustle. And then in the evening time, same token, even though I was exhausted after working a full 9 to 5 shift, on my commute home, another hour and 45 minutes, I would be doing the same thing. Writing, outlining, that sort of stuff. So by the time September 2018 came about, I had launched the Thought Card podcast, which means that we're approaching our 3-year anniversary mark. Yay! How incredible, right? Can't believe we've been doing this thing for 3 years. Wow. But I started the Thought Card podcast because I wanted to get the word out there faster. I thought that, you know, I wanted to get to know people a bit more. And I knew that I could write fast. Actually, I could actually speak faster. And then I wrote. And I still had this limiting belief that, you know, I'm not that good of a writer. I'm learning, but maybe I'd give this podcasting a try. And I decided that it would be the same topic as what the blog is, because again, I could talk about travel and money endlessly, and we were off to the races. So, you know, fast forward 3 years, 3 years later, here we are. You know, we have an amazing community of financially savvy travelers who listen to this show regularly. We have an amazing group of people who are on the email list who hear from me every week. If you're not on the email list, head over to the show notes and join. I send regular updates, send you some extra content or content that you may not have seen. So thank you for being on the list as well. So now let me tell you why and how I got to this point where I'm quitting my job and leaving. So I remember I was talking to one of my good friends online, DL Sharon. Actually, DL, let's see. DL was back in episode number 43. We talked about side hustling and earning money outside of your 9-to-5 job. So go back and listen to episode number 43 to check out our conversation there. But I remember me and DL, we were at a conference called She Podcast Live, and we were talking about, do you ever have thoughts about going full time to be a content creator and doing all of this? And I said to her, I was like, DL, I don't think I can do that. I make way too much money. I'm a high earner, and there's no way that my side hustle, my writing and my podcasting will be able to make me a full-time income to replace my job. Fast forward, it does, and I'm surpassing that. I'm surpassing that now, which is glorious. But, that wasn't too long ago. That was 2019 when we had that conversation, and I'll always remember it because I just never thought that I could leave. I was making money on the side, but I just never thought that it would be enough to ever replace me as a high earner. So 2020 was a really pivotal and instrumental year. And, in a lot of the conversations I've been having with guests, we usually kind of talk a bit about 2020 in some shape or form. And for me personally, 2020 was really an opportunity for me to work from home 100%, which has been like on my list for so long. Like I mentioned, I was commuting 45 minutes one way, okay? One way to work. So being able to wake up, go to work, take a break, lay on the couch, go back to work, that was just amazing. That flexibility, that freedom. I am becoming more of a homebody, so it was just glorious. At the same time, just again, this like, is it possible? Is it not possible? It's not possible to actually even consider doing this full time. But one day, my husband, Kyle, who I've heard before, plenty of episodes in the archives with Kyle, he came to me and he said, you know what? He calls me Danny. He's like, hey, Danny, I think that if you want, next year can be your last year at corporate. I said, babe, are you sure? Are you sure that I can do this? And he was like, yeah, I 100%, 1,000% believe in you. So now it's a matter of you putting in the work and you doing what you got to do to make it happen. And for the first time in my life, I actually considered it. I considered, what if my wildest dreams could come true? Despite 2020 being crazy, one of my dreams did come true. I became a remote worker. I could work anywhere in the world. We never thought that would have been possible. So why don't I just try? So of course, me being the numbers person I am, for me to even consider such a thing, I needed to have a significant savings account, buffer, not only just for my peace of mind and sanity, but also I'm a homeowner and we can't play with that. I'm not going to undo all the things that I've done, all the hard work I put into owning this home, and throw it away for being reckless. So I put some goals together And I started to side hustle my way and start actually saving the money that I was earning on the side. And I had several financial goals, and I have, you guys know that I have a banking system where I have multiple bank accounts. So I would create these bank accounts for different goals that I had. And one by one, these bank accounts were filling up and filling up and filling up. And to the point where it was like the momentum was kicking in. And originally the goal was to stay in my job until the end of the year. And I was able to speed it all the way up. It was, okay, December 2021. Okay, September 2021. Okay, I think September. We can do September. So, and now here we are. So I was able to meet all of the financial goals I had set for myself so that I can feel comfortable with leaving corporate behind. And setting goals was really important because number one, I had to learn patience, right? Just because I wanted to leave and I was experimenting doesn't mean that, okay, I'm going to drop at a drop of a dime, right? Saving is just work and takes time. So it took time to build up the savings. And it also showed me that I know how to make money online. I know how to sustain myself and my family to the point where I'm able to even outpace my corporate career. And at the same time, I was at the point where it's like, I love what I do in my 9 to 5, but I also truly wish that I can just devote and pour myself into all things that I do in terms of being a freelance writer, being an author, being a podcaster, being a creative, being a world traveler. There was this yearning to actually go ahead and give this a chance. So back in July, I reached all my goals and I put my notice in, which gives me 2 months to actually leave. And now to the day, today's my last day. And I wrote an email to the people I work with at work. And it was just so nice to see such outpouring of love. And, they say that they will miss me and all of this beautiful words and how much of an impact I've made. That means a lot to me, that means a lot. And at the same time, I'm sad to leave and start this new chapter, but I'm also really, really, really excited. Really excited to give this my all. Really excited to continue to create content. And I'm sharing all of this because there's someone out there who may be feeling like, you know what, I may not be this good at something, or maybe I'll never be able to be at the point where I can go all in on my dream. And I know exactly how that feels. I didn't think I was a good writer. Now people pay me to write handsomely, and people buy my books, right? So perfection doesn't exist, but we're improving. And that gives me the confidence to continuously show up online, even if I don't know how to use commas properly, but if I didn't try and just start documenting and sharing back in 2014, I wouldn't be in this position today. And I wouldn't be able to solely depend on me as a creative for income, which is still mind-boggling. So that is a bit of my story. And I definitely want to continue documenting my journey as an entrepreneur. So I'm going to start a series on the podcast called Taking the Leap, where from time to time, I'll come in and share with you some thoughts and where I'm at in my entrepreneurship journey. And hopefully in a year from now, we can come together as a community and talk about all the things that have happened and all the things I've learned along the way. But, since 2014, I've been documenting my life, documenting my journey, and I don't want it to stop. I want this new chapter to be something that you're a part of as well. So that's a bit of my story. And I can't wait to continuously to share with you all how things continue to progress over the next few months in the Take the Leap series. All right. So I also wanted to take a moment to say thank you to specific people who have made a really big impact on my life and who have been so supportive of everything that I've been doing. Some of these folks are creators themselves, and some of these folks have already gone full time, and some of these folks have just been there cheering me on and being there to support and encourage. And some of these folks we probably never maybe even talked, but just because I follow them online, I just always feel inspired, and I feel like they see me even though we've never probably had a conversation. So I want to thank Gabby Beckford from Pax Light. I want to thank Jen Ruiz from Jen on a Jet Plane. I want to thank Lavinia from Continent Hop and Eugenie George and Aquania Escarnay from the Purpose of Money podcast. Christopher Mitchell. Thanks, Chris. I also want to thank my podcast editing team, Steve and Allison. You make me sound so good. So good. And I do appreciate you and all the work that you put into making this podcast sound amazing. Lastly, I want to thank my mom, my dad, and my other half who gave me the idea to actually take the leap. It's not even take the leap at this point. It's take the next step. All right. It is take the next step. So thanks, babe, for empowering me to take the next step. And I don't know, you always believe in me, even when my ideas sound crazy. But, having the support of my mom and dad has been really instrumental. And don't get me wrong, I had to do a lot of convincing for my mom. A lot of convincing, but to have their support has been really helpful. And I feel really good about this decision. So thank you all. Really means a lot to me. Also, my new projects. So what am I going to be doing with all this now free time? So I am going to continue freelance writing, going to be continuing writing more travel and personal finance books. I have so many ideas for books, and I really can't wait to just have dedicated time to write more books. Also, I'm going to do a whole lot of traveling. Now that I'm remote, I'm a remote worker, location independent, even though I'm just going to stay home for the most part. But having that freedom to work from anywhere and, still be able to make great income is really exciting. So I'm really looking forward to more traveling in the future. Also, I launched a one-on-one podcast marketing coaching program where I help clients build their brands, get the word out, and also make good money podcasting. So I've been so fortunate to be all booked out, all sold out for September, but I do have spots available for October, November, and onwards. So if you are a podcaster and you're looking to really grow your podcast audience in an authentic and organic way, but also be very strategic about it, then definitely reach out to me. You could head over to danielledizer.com/podcast coaching, 2 words, podcast coaching, and let's hop on a discovery call and see if working together would be a really good fit. But I'm really excited. I'm really excited to work with my clients and to really help them get some great results and make podcasting a big part of their business. So that is really what I'm up to. I have no idea what my day-to-day is going to look like because I've never had 8 hours plus to myself to actually create. I've always side hustled for the last 7 years. And 6-7 years, and it's really exciting to now have, full attention to my creative work. Also, I've been doing more video projects, which has been really cool and really exciting. So I'm learning more about video, and I'm excited to learn that skill. So last but not least, thank you for listening to me. I actually managed to not cry, which is, I'm probably going to cry after this, but not get too emotional. But again, I want to say thank you so much for tuning in to the Thought Card podcast. Thank you for listening week after week. We are quickly approaching over 100 episodes, and none of this would have been possible without you tuning in and listening and sharing with your friends and leaving a rating and a review and spreading the word about the content that you enjoy. And I really do appreciate that. I really, really do appreciate that so much. So you can continue to support the growth of the show by buying me a cup of coffee. That's a one-time donation, or joining the Thought Card Club, ongoing support, where you get access to extended interviews and workshops in a private podcast feed. And we have over 10 episodes. We have 2 workshops, including Intro to Financially Savvy Travel, Setting Financial Goals workshops, and a number of extended interviews. So we've been so gracious enough to have all the guests that have joined us for season 6 have been able to stay on a little bit longer and share some even more great tips. So we have tips for planning trips with Jared Kamrowski, how to reduce scarcity mindset with Jess from the Pioneers, how to include side hustles on your resume with Daniela Flores, podcast monetization tips with Debbie Archangelis, zero-based budgeting with Jay from Fires.co, Marriott Bonvoy, travel hack from me, travel hacking tools and tips with Julia Menez, Portugal travel tips with expat Jennifer Viemont, and the best credit cards for travel hacking with Lizette Austin. And every episode that you see on the public feed, the Thought Card feed, there is an accompanying bonus extended interview. So as the podcast continues, so will the private podcast. And I really wanted to say thank you to a few people who have joined the Thought Card Club and have supported the continuation of the show, including Cielo, Dahlia, Elvia, Samara, Wendy, and Zach. So thank you for your support. Thank you for joining the Thought Card Club. And thank you to all the others who have bought me a cup of coffee and cheered to my success as a new entrepreneur. So I really appreciate it. All right. Again, I managed not to cry, which is a win, but I'm so grateful for all the lessons that I've learned over the last 6+ years as a content creator. And I just can't continue. I can't wait. I really just can't wait to see what the future has in store over at thoughtcard.com and the Thought Card podcast. So feel free to reach out to me. I'm at the Thought Card on Twitter, very active on Twitter, and also at the Danielle Desir on Instagram, active on Instagram as well. Slide in my DMs. Let me know what your thoughts are about the show in general, who you want to see next, and any topics that we can cover. And don't forget to join the newsletter so you can hear from me directly and get more fun life updates and all that good stuff often. If you were on the newsletter, you probably heard me talk about quitting since July. So thanks all of you who are part of the newsletter. And I'll make sure to leave a link in the show notes where you can go ahead and join and be part of the crew. All right, now back to your scheduled programming. Bye for now. I hope you enjoyed this episode, but don't forget there's way more where that came from. When you become a supporter of the show, you'll get bonus episodes, additional tips on affording travel, real-time updates, as well as strategies for building wealth and creating multiple income streams. Head over to thoughtcard.com/join to support. Also, be sure to follow me on Instagram. I'm at the Danielle Desir. Slide in my DMs and share with me your thoughts about this episode. What did you enjoy? What stood out to you? Let me know. I'd absolutely love to connect with you outside of the podcast. See you in the next one.